Ladies and gentlemen, I am very excited to have today's guest on the show. She is a blockchain futurist with years of experience in the fintech industry, cryptocurrency industry, and NFT platforms. This woman has been at the forefront of building communities for leading blockchain projects, including Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Polymath. Ever heard of them? Present day, she's the head of marketing at Zytara and founder of Untraceable. I'm very pleased to welcome to the Crypto News Podcast, Tracy Leparulo. Tracy, welcome to the show.
Hi, welcome. Thanks so much for having me.
We're very fired up to have you here today. And you are Canadian number 3 and Torontonian number 2, which always puts a big smile on my face. So love to see that. You're in Toronto right now, right?
I'm in Toronto here, birthplace of Ethereum, and it's not so exciting to be here during COVID, but a great place to be in the blockchain space.
Very well said. Now, birthplace of Ethereum, very little known fact, but little known facts, but very important fact. Vitalik has some crazy ties to Ethereum. I believe you're boys with him too. Is that true?
Yeah. We've known each other for years now. Ethereum started in Toronto. So it started at a place called Decentral. This was in downtown Toronto, and that's where I first got introduced to crypto. So back in the day, I went to Kenya. I started a microfinance program. And when I came back, I started learning more about Bitcoin and decided to join a company called CryptoKit. And so at the time, CryptoKit, it was myself, Vitalik, Anthony Diorio, who was founded, and one of the other founders, Steve Dock, and a few others. And at the same time, we were also developing Ethereum. So Vitalik was writing for Bitcoin Magazine. He was part of the CryptoKit team, and he's also inventing Ethereum along with Anthony Diorio. And so I was very, very fortunate enough to be beside them along the way for that. I helped manage and operate Decentral as the cohort there, and it's just been an exciting ride ever since. So never thought we'd be here today, thinking about how scrappy we all were, like very, very early startup days. But yeah, it's just been a ride. So
you must have some crazy Vitalik stories for us. Give me a hot one that's going to go front page.
No, I love Vitalik. I can't, there's maybe a few other people in the space I'll give you some hot stories on. No, Vitalik's been great. So Vitalik, he was very young when I first met him, right? We were both quite young at the time. Ethereum really started with this large group of men, and it was just amazing to see him kind of emerge from that space. So he's traveled a lot of the world. We've been to a lot of places together, and so I have high respect for Vitalik, and it's just it's amazing to see what he's done. Would you put him in like top 10 of the smartest people in the world kind of thing? He's up there, no? Totally, right? Like he's, yeah, 100%. Like the fact that he did it so young, when he was in Waterloo, they gave him a grant to actually leave school. They gave him $100,000 as a student to say, leave school and go keep building stuff because that's how smart you are. Wow. Yeah, so that's really cool. He speaks tons of different languages. Like when he hangs out with a girlfriend, he speaks Chinese, and it's really, he blows my mind every time we're together. So you gotta give me something. Do you have any stories like going to Gracie's or going like to the Maddie or any crazy bars in Toronto? Yeah, right. So no, the crypto bars in Toronto, those are for another tale. No, not necessarily Vitalik, but definitely the other guys in crypto for sure. It's interesting. Bitcoin at the time we got in, it was $300, maybe even less than that. And so when Bitcoin hit $1,000, like people were going crazy. Like champagne was popping everywhere, like parties were going, and people never thought that this. I got in at that time. It was late with $300. They got in, pennies. And so it's there were definitely stories. I remember when I hit the first $1,000 that it was just like remarkable, and the parties were just lit. And then thinking back, I'm sure anyone who sold at $1,000 back then are just kicking themselves now. But yeah. That is awesome. Well, next time on the pod, I'll get those juicy stories out of you. Oh, well, I'm sure we'll come with the cross as we're talking here. I love that. To begin, you mentioned briefly how you got into the space. Present day, you are the founder of Untraceable, and you are also head of marketing at Zytara. Am I pronouncing that right? Zytara? Yeah, Zytara. Zytara. Okay. Yeah. Let's start with Untraceable. Tell us a little bit about Untraceable and why you decided to found that company. Definitely. So I started back in 2013. It naturally happened. My original company was actually called Traceable, where I did events in just kind of the traditional world, the non-blockchain world, and then decided to go down that rabbit hole in 2013. So I started helping with all the Toronto meetups, the Bitcoin meetups in Toronto. I then ran the first Bitcoin Expo in Toronto, as well as the first Ethereum hackathon. And so from there was a proof of concept of Ethereum. And then from there, I launched the first ETH Global series, so ETH Waterloo, as well as done events all around the world, from Australia to Chicago to Bahamas to Barbados, and so just been really excited to lead these really mainstream events.
And you've thrown some big ones. You've thrown some massive events. And speaking of events, I hope to run into you at the Bitcoin conference in 2 weeks. I guess 2.5 weeks on the road from now.
Yeah.
That is coming up very quickly. You are speaking at that event, which we will get into shortly. But walk me through like the whole planning process. I've only planned and, ran events from sort of idea to actual execution a couple times in my life. Heck, I have organized golf tournaments with friends, and even that's a little bit of a nightmare, and quite frankly, it's a shit show.
It's not for everybody.
It is not for everyone.
Totally.
Walk me through the process of how you actually come up with the idea to execution.
Sure. So let's talk about the biggest one. The biggest one in Canada, one of the largest in the world, is called Futurist Conference. We do it in a mega entertainment complex in Toronto called Red Bull that has a massive cabana area, and it's just a very immersive experience. What's exciting about it, so when people think events, initially they think, oh, you're a wedding planner. Oh, you go do birthday parties. But it's like so far different than that because what an event does is it connects people and it brings people together. And so it's everything, and that's how I got catapulted in the space. So when I ran the first event, or all mine, I get to know all the speakers in the space, which means I get to understand all the topics and what's really current on that day. I also get to know all the sponsors of the event. So who has money, who's launching, what are their ROIs, what are they trying to target. And then I get to, ensure partnerships happen and collaboration happens, as well as, the branding. And what's really exciting about Futures Conference specifically is we bring the tech on site. So last 2 years when I did it, we actually had helicopter rides that you could buy with cryptocurrency. Everything on the entire event, what almost like a festival, you could purchase up to 50 cryptocurrencies. So anything from popcorn to cotton candy to food trucks. We had a full marketplace. I actually went and tracked all of our produce at the conference on the blockchain. So you were able to scan an apple or a peach, and you can see where it came from farm to table at the conference. So that was exciting.
So cool.
That was cool. It was cool, except a few days before, like me literally being in a farm and being like, I got things to do. Why are we tracking everything? But it's good. It's a great ecosystem. It's like if you want to bring blockchain to the world, you got to bring it to an event first, because an event has everything. It has the people, it has the connections, it has everything hyper focused, let's say, in a few days. And so that's what I love. I love pushing the boundaries of this isn't just an event just for the sake of throwing an event. Like, we're trying to create a new world here, and let's test it out at a conference so that if things mess up, we could all learn from it. And then it allows all of our sponsors and our partners to showcase their technology on site and talk about it. So it's exciting. It's been a ride for sure.
Do you have any horror stories of a huge guest dropping out last minute, or a mic being faulty or anything?
Oh, mic being faulty. No, you know what? I have backup plans. But you know what happened last conference? Some random guy walked on stage. There was like an empty seat on one of the panels. Some random guy just walks right on stage and just starts talking. And we don't know who he was and what. He had a very thick accent too. So I had to go and kick him off. What are some other things? The Bitcoin, the first Ethereum event, so this was 2014, okay? We flew the original Ethereum team down. So this is when Charles Hoskinson was still CEO of Ethereum. Gavin Wood was there, like the full Ethereum team. And so the way it was a house that we had, a 3-floor house. I was obviously one of the only females. I pretty much was the only female in the space. And so I walk in one day. I'm like, hey, let me go check out what these guys are doing. Make sure we're all good here. It's a late night. And I realized I don't have toilet paper for anybody. I'm like, what is this house doing? I'm like, okay, let's go. This is like fixing the internet connection, fixing this. And it's just crazy. I remember we had, Ethan Buckman from Cosmos, we had Vitalik, obviously, we had Vlad. And it's like every single person at this hackathon back in 2014, we were all scrappy. This was before Ethereum went to ICO. Nobody was these mega billionaires or millionaires now. And it's just funny to see that, how far they've grown. So, I remember 2014 was a struggle. It was like, we didn't have the budgets we had now. Bitcoin and Ethereum wasn't at the price it was now. So it was, up to the toilet paper. That's how scrappy we were.
Oh, that's a great line. How did you go about, obviously now you say, hey, I'm throwing a crypto conference and everyone and their cousins are going to sign up. But back in the early days when you were like, hey, come to my Ethereum conference, and people looked at you like you had 9 eyeballs,
yeah.
walk me through that. How do you get people to go to your events?
Totally. You know what? It starts grassroots. Even till this, back in the day, it was much harder. They thought I was like a drug dealer, a money launderer. They said, what are you talking about? Bitcoin, Ethereum. So I had to explain to them. So there definitely was a learning curve. A lot of these come through our community partners. So, individuals like yourself that have podcasts and, people have blogs, a lot of groups. I helped start an organization called Crypto Chicks. And so these organizations reach out to their network. So I'd find my core crew of, let's say, 100, 200 people and say, if everyone brings 5 people, then we get to 500. And then that grew and that grew. And then also putting good quality events on. Like most people in the crypto space don't come from an event background. And so although the events, everyone gets there, then doesn't have food and it's unorganized, we really put a lot of time and energy into making it a very flawless experience, for it. The other thing that I make sure I do at every one of my events, they have a Bitcoin 101. And a blockchain for beginners. And so it really attracts new people to the space. And that's how we keep growing. Because what I've noticed in a lot of these events, like the same people, like keep showing up. It's great. Yeah. We all know each other, but that's not the point of these. We're going to bring new people in. And so I always have an Ask an Expert booth that people could just ask random questions. How do I get a wallet? How do I do this? Nice. Because I think people always forget how intimidating the space is. For anybody, I've been here for a long time and I still have questions. So I, try and make it a mandate in the conference not to feel free to ask questions, but more importantly, if you're smart enough to answer them, go answer people's questions, because a lot of people have them that aren't saying it. So it's a mix between community partners and bringing new people on board.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. That would just be so tough. And now present day, walk me through the present day event where I'm assuming you're selling out like quicker than you want to.
Yeah, well, it's COVID. You can't, it is COVID right now. Yeah.
I mean before. I mean the 2019 days, even after the 2017 bull run. I used to be in currency. I was a currency broker, and even, our whole team was going to crypto events in Toronto as well, because every crypto company had such large exposure. And again, the banks, there's almost a monopoly, and you can't really do anything about it. They will not take you on as a client, and you're just network. Walk me through the present day and how much fun it must be to throw these huge events.
So much fun. It's definitely nice to have people calling you than you calling them as much. I think a lot of our events that I did before were very siloed too. So I did the first security token conference in Bahamas. And so that brought Wall Street and security tokens. That was in 2018. I did a blockchain and loyalty conference. And so when you figure out these target groups, it becomes a lot more easier to market to them. Futurist is like the Super Bowl of crypto events. It's like almost an amusement park. So that one is more, just kind of get the word out because it's such a large facility as well. But, it's important. I say now the scary part is making sure the speakers and the sponsors are very legitimate companies, because a lot of people are now entrusting me to make sure that we give them accurate information. And so I think we spend a lot more, we try to spend as much time as we can to say, what are you saying on stage? You can't be promoting something they shouldn't be promoting. You can't be saying something that, I don't want, that they leak in wrong misinformation. And so that's changed over the years even more, to make sure that what's being said on stage is appropriate for new beginners.
And talk to me about COVID and virtual events. Now, we had Erhan Korhaliller on, and he runs some incredible events as well. He pivoted from massive events over in Europe, brought them all online, and has had, crazy success online. I know you've done the same. How does that work? Like, what are the biggest differences that the average Joe wouldn't think of, besides that no shit, one's in person and one's online?
Yeah, exactly, right? Like it's been exciting going virtual. I love the metaverse, so I do a lot of stuff in Decentraland to try and make it go above and beyond. I find with virtual, you still are competing in some sense with great podcasts like yourself, right? Like there's like podcasts and there's like YouTube channels and like there's online content. Like it's a different kind of, game than physical events, I would say. So it's like, it's been exciting because we had way over 10,000 people at a virtual event. right? So it's like you get more people, you get more eyeballs, you can track a bit better, but do you make those meaningful connections? Did a sale get made? And no, and I know for a fact, I know tons and tons of deals have been made at my conferences. I actually really, it's one of the biggest metrics we're proud of. Some of the largest deals in crypto have been made at the conference and private dinners at the conference. And so that part you can't track, right? And that part, just doesn't happen. The networking, the meaningful connections. And that's why when we say we go to these events, the same people, but we're all growing together. We're all connected together. We're also all realizing who's a scam together and who not to work with and who to work with, right? And so I think, I don't think events will ever lose its luster. I think there's a spot for virtual events. And I think hybrid's the future. It always has been. I've always streamed pre-COVID, I always stream my events anyways for people around the world to still have access to it. But, I'm really excited to get back in person. I think we all are.
100%. I and all of us cannot wait to get back into, real world. And I know vaccines and everything else is really helping that. And hopefully we can keep the positive ball rolling. You touched on Decentraland. We had DCL blogger Maddie. He was episode number 2. You know Maddie?
I know Maddie. I love Maddie.
So Maddie crushed it and taught me so much about Decentraland and mana and everything else. You sound like a guru, a little bit of a guru yourself. And
I learned from Maddie. So
okay, you've learned from Maddie as well. Shout out Maddie. We'd love to have you on again. And he was super early in the space. He has quite a lot of land. But tell me how you go about throwing a virtual event in Decentraland. And also before you do that, for our guests our listeners, who are not familiar with Decentraland, please give a quick explanation of that before you get into the whole virtual event throwing.
Yeah, sure. So Decentraland is something called the metaverse. It's almost like a virtual reality or digital land that you can go online. And so basically you get your avatar and you can walk around this digital land, but the difference between Decentraland is that it's all built on the blockchain. So people could own land that's verified, that they're collectible. It's all based around similar to like a non-fungible token space. And so what I do with events is people can actually go with their avatar, go into the metaverse, go into Decentraland and actually watch the event there. And so I work with people like Maddie as well as Steve Wan and quite a few others that are really known in the space. Michael Gord from GDA. And XTB Foundation. And so what we do is we create these really cool events online. So Decentraland is making it easier and easier. You post an event, people kind of go there. There's still a long way to wait, but if you look at the timeline of where it's going, it's for sure the future. In COVID, it at least gave a nice experience that you could actually meet people. We have 2 really exciting NFT drops that we're going to be doing in Decentraland coming up. So Floyd Mayweather will be one, and the other one is Ozuna. So that's going to be coming up next week.
Wow.
I don't think anyone knows that yet. So we have the first time here on the show.
Love that.
So that's going to be in the BitBuzz Gallery. And so people can go there, they can check out the art, and then they can actually likely get a proof of attendance token for actually going there. And then we're going to be going and it'll be linking out to Rarible, where both of those auctions will be on. So yeah, it's exciting. We also have streamed clubhouses in there. So it just gives another outlet for people to hang out on. I just think the more and more people that get onto it, the more exciting it'll be.
Floyd Mayweather, ever heard of him? Just only, perfect record, 50-0, maybe 51-0, will be 52-0 after he bounces Logan Paul's head off the canvas. I don't know if he'll do that. Maybe he'll just dance for, the whole hour that the fight is, just because he is a showman and probably wouldn't want to end it after a round anyway. But that is a story for another day. Tell me more about the Floyd. Or I guess the better question is tell me as much as you can tell me about the Floyd Mayweather NFT.
Sure. So this is where my position as Zytara comes really important. So I'm head of marketing at Zytara. What we do is we bridge the gap between, we're building the digital financial institution of tomorrow. We're bridging the gap between big brands and blockchain, really. And so what we're doing is we are helping facilitate the NFT drop for Floyd Mayweather Jr. And we announced it a few days ago. The first piece will be dropping on May 26th. And then we have some exciting things coming up for the fight. So that's why I'm actually going to Miami. I'm going to Miami to get on stage with Floyd Mayweather. Also, first time heard at this talk right now. No one knows that yet.
Come on.
Yeah. It was good practice.
Wow, not bad. Cool. Are you going to the fight too?
I will be going to the fight. I have a box of the fight, yeah.
You got room for a plus uno?
Yeah, right? So I said you're in Miami.
Well, if you got room for the plus one, I might delay that. I might delay that flight back to Canada.
Yeah, right. I think I'll be exciting. There'll be a lot of buzz for sure. A lot of people are talking about the fight in the Bitcoin space. And yeah, I think there's a really nice story to be said. Like, it's been interesting trying to understand Floyd's vision with the NFT, because he's known as Floyd Money Mayweather, but at the same time, he wants this to be a piece for everybody. And so he's come from an actually very rough background. He really started from the bottom, and I think a lot of people in crypto can resonate with that. And so he actually doesn't want it to be too flashy. He wants us to talk about his legacy continuing on. And that's been a little bit humbling experience because, the persona of him is, money and things like that. But I think there's some really raw stories behind it. So we're excited to bring that to light.
That's so cool. That's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
I think
and bring him to punch Logan Paul in the face.
Yes. I think this is going to make a great segue into the Bitcoin conference in Miami. What are you speaking about there, and what are your expectations of the whole conference?
I'm so excited for the conference. I love Bitcoin Magazine and BTC Media. I think they've done such a great job. I've known them for years, and so very excited for them to have us. I'll be speaking with Floyd Mayweather. We're going to talk about his legacy. We're going to talk about talk about his legacy. I guess you'll have to find out on stage then. But I'm excited for the whole thing. There's also something called Art NFT Basel. So there's an art gallery there. We'll be dropping art piece there. We'll be doing a Bitcoin something in the Bitcoin auction with Floyd. And so I'm going with a company called Zytara. If you guys haven't heard Zytara yet, it's because they've been in stealth mode for marketing, but they have quite a large, extensive developer team building a banking platform. Really focusing on esports and now really more traditional sports and entertainment. And the NFT space has just exploded and brought big brands to the blockchain more than we've ever seen it. And then tied to Zytara is actually a company that I've advised for years called Digital Bits. And so they're a really sophisticated team, and I'm excited to continue to advise Digital Bits while heading up marketing for Zytara.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
You talked about esports, sports, and this gives entertainment, baby. And this gives another great segue into our sponsor of the show, which is CoinPoker. You guys have heard me talk about them many times on the show. We absolutely love the team at CoinPoker, who's created the premier blockchain technology-based gambling platform. You're a poker fan, check it out. You're a sports bettor like me. Again, safe, not too much. Don't be a complete degenerate. Check them out. They're absolutely awesome. The in-game currency is USDT. Their own currency is CHP. That is CHP token. They offer fast, secure, instant transactions. Super clean platform. And one of my favorite parts is no KYC. You literally jump on. It takes 2 minutes to sign up. You're dancing and you are good to go. Again, mobile app. Whenever I want to bet on some sports like the Toronto Maple Leafs game tonight, whip out CoinPoker, make a cheeky bet, win some easy money, and boom, I'm off to the races. It is an absolute treat, and that is coinpoker.com. Please do go check them out. And back to the show. Tracy, are you a poker player at all? I feel like you dabble from time to time.
I've done poker. I've planned poker tournaments. so I do know extensive about it. We actually planned a big one in Bahamas, which was exciting for one of the conferences. So you know what? My first company that we worked with, the founders, the one with CryptoKid, actually one of the founders of Ethereum, that was his first project, was in the gambling space in crypto. And so it's exciting to see these new companies come about. And I think it's a good outlet for people to have fun online.
That's really cool. I want to go back to Zytara for a second. No, sorry, my apologies on this. What did you say the slogan was again? Something
digital bank, digital institution of the future.
Digital institution of the future. I got that. That's
my slogan.
Oh, that's the Tracy slogan. You better charge him for that.
Yeah.
Tell me what the future plan of that looks like. Because again, that's a pretty ballsy slogan. You got to have a pretty cool plan to back that up.
Totally. So we have a team of over almost 30 developers that are focused on a fintech app. So at the core, we are a fintech company that bridges the gap between traditional finance and digital assets. And so it's a pretty extensive company that has so much experience with MasterCard, Visa, payments, fintech, just a whole realm of a digital platform. And so people are able to they'll eventually be able to top up kind of their mobile app. They'll have a physical and digital prepaid debit card. So anywhere that any merchant that accepts it will be able to use it anywhere. The other part about it, why we focus on gaming, is because gaming, there's there's a big need in that space, especially for teenagers, because they're asking their parents for their credit card. And kids are asking for their parents for their credit cards to buy jewels and to buy in-app skins, to buy these different things. And so, they're building specifically a fintech app that focuses right now on gamers, so people can actually use it within game and just really at all merchants. In addition, though, from just having your fiat on your cash, you'll be able to actually include digital assets, NFTs, cryptocurrencies, and kind of everything else in a wallet. So it's an exciting space because of the people that are not in the blockchain space that are on the team. That's what gets me excited, because I've been in tons of blockchain projects, like you name them. But it's actually the fintech employees on the team that get me really excited, because they're like, this is how we do it in the if you could think of like a PayPal or a Venmo, like this is how you traditionally do it. So we'll be able to go to stores and top up and just bringing that traditional side to it. But because we're building it from the ground up, it's not archaic like these ones right now. So to go and include cryptocurrency and, like I would say, an app that's currently live is probably a lot harder than rebuilding it. And so it's exciting. We're going to be launching quite soon, and so we're excited for it.
Really cool. That sounds like an absolutely incredible project. If you don't mind me asking, why sort of the incognito approach up until now?
I guess they want to build product and tech first, and I agree with that. Like, there's so many projects in blockchain that just come out with a slide deck and are really showy and have this massive Telegram group, and then you realize it's like 2 developers and a white paper. So they took the other approach. They said, let's make these partnerships. They're also really legitimate partnerships with traditional financial institutions. So they have to be very careful of how they say things in the press, because there's a lot of approvals and stuff. So they went stealth. They're building the tech, and it's almost there. And then then we make a splash. That's why they bring me on board.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
I only join teams that have the tech. That was the main reason why I got there. I don't like joining teams that don't have it. And so it was important to me to see the tech and see what they were building, in order for me to join, to market. It's easier to market. Yeah.
Of course, it passed the Tracy test, and that's all you need. Tell me the name. Why the name Zytara? It's, again, my last name Zahab, tomato. I don't get offended by people who pronounce it, but anytime there's a Z in the last name, I always love it. So why the name?
I think that's it. I think it's a Z, right? So they have a stablecoin ZUSD. So a lot of this is based around a stablecoin, especially the in-app payments. That's something for our founder to answer. I keep kind of poking him for it. He just likes the name Zytara.
Not bad. Would he jump on the pod?
Yeah, I for sure jump on the pod.
Okay, we'll have to get him on.
Yes, ask him that question for me as well.
I will. Yeah, that's you might get the whip out because you didn't know the answer to that. Sorry for putting you on the spot.
No,
there.
I've asked him.
Okay. I want to go back to I want to say it was an ETH Waterloo hackathon, and I believe this is where CryptoKitties was launched. Probably the project in the NFT space that really started the boom. I could be wrong with that, but to my understanding, you were at that event. You were one of the ones that made that happen. You saw the rise and you saw the crash. I'd love to get any crazy stories you have from that.
Yeah. So ETH Waterloo was a ride in itself. They did launch at our event, so they were the most fun group ever. They showed up in tie-dye t-shirts, and they showed up with these kitten cat balloons, like helium balloons. And we had over 400 of the top Ethereum developers in the world, including a lot of the original Ethereum team, come there, and they stood out. And you know what? I think it kind of rattled some people, because they're even after, when they ended up winning, one of the it was like tiered to who won. We had to go and had to do conflict resolution, because people were like, oh, well, they had a product before this and things like that. And, it was like, they were so good and they were so bright and they were so amazing that it's like, it shook the space up, and it didn't surprise that they were so successful, because ultimately they had a great idea, and then the cats are cute, but it was the team that was really amazing. And you could tell they were bold and bright, and it was a fun experience with them. I think it's like, the clogging of the network freaked me out though, because then it was like, it was a few months later, came out, and it was on CoinDesk, and it was like, ETH Waterloo, project. And I'm like, oh shit, why am I getting all these Google alerts? And everyone's talking about Ethereum, right? And so it was the first time I think our space really witnessed how the network can be used exponentially, and how gas prices will actually be a problem. And so that, today gas prices are low, but yesterday.
Well, it was $1,000 a pop.
Yeah.
Did you know at the time, full disclosure, like, did you have any clue that it was going to be this big? CryptoKitties?
Honestly, I did because, like I said, when they walked into that room and they had the bright colored T-shirts and they come with balloons and there was this energy around it. You knew this was something real, and people were excited when they left the conference about it. The other thing about these hackathons when we first started, that first one especially, is they really brought a lot of big thought leaders into the space. Joseph Lubin was there, Vitalik was, like, everybody was there, and so when you get all those eyeballs on a project, something magical happens, and that's why in-person events are so important. Like, I remember that event what we did is, like, the point of it when we were planning, it was like, we need top talent. We're not leaving this hackathon without really good smart contracts coming out of it. And so we're like, how do we design the event for this to happen? So while half of the people, 12 o'clock hit, maybe they went to bed, I stayed up all night for 2 nights straight to make sure, like, how do we make the developers who are staying up all night stay up all night so we can get the best one? So we're like, hey, 50% of the people at 12 are gone. Let's not worry about them. 1 o'clock comes around. All right, guys, what can we get? Let's get you guys smoothies. All right, 2 o'clock comes around. Okay, what do we need, guys? Let's have like a yoga. Like, let's keep going. And then slowly, you saw by the end of the night, like, I'd always, at my favorite time at hackathons is like 3 a.m. I go to every project, like, I hang out with them, make sure they're good, see what they have. And then, so when the event got smaller, this is the crew. So I could see firsthand, like, these 20 groups here are the ones that are going to win because they care the most about it. They're asking questions. They're talking to me about things. And CryptoKitties was one of them. And so it was like, I kind of knew, I'm like, this is going to be big. And that's like the first hackathon I did for Ethereum. It was the CEO of Cosmos. He wasn't CEO of Cosmos. Ethan Buckman, like, was just a dev, became CEO of Cosmos. Charles Hoskinson was just, part of Ethereum team, became Cardano. It was like, and it was all because of these hackathons that they really cared about that, you fast forward, a year later and they're the biggest thing ever. So I was used to it at these hackathons that, like, I'm like, whoever is really putting time here, there's a real opportunity. And then once they actually win a piece, that they have real tech behind it. So yeah, I wasn't surprised at all CryptoKitties did so well.
Did you snag one or dozens?
Yeah, dozens and stickers and t-shirts. And plus, like, they come to my events a few times. We teach people how to get their own CryptoKitty. My first futurist. Yeah, we got some CryptoKitties.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's a great story. That must have been really cool seeing that. You are very bullish on NFTs. You and I have worked for NFTs. We dropped a Dole ad read for a really cool NFT that came out a couple weeks ago. That was awesome, and I had a lot of fun doing that as well. You are a bit of an NFT guru. You got into it super early. A lot of guests don't like when I call them gurus, but you are a guru.
Yeah.
You are a guru. Tell me about the future of NFTs and what applications they can have to become more bulletproof moving forward.
Definitely. I think everything in blockchain, it always starts off like very simple so people can grasp the concept. I never thought the word non-fungible token would be so common. I always thought it was a very hard term. So the fact that has gone so mainstream, like, I would think digital collectible, but like, it just shows me how far this can go. I think the future of NFTs is obviously past collectability and just art and more about access and functionality of it. I think there's going to be a lot of boring stuff coming out that are NFTs that maybe won't make the headlines, but everything from documents to even tracking things like supply chain management to pretty much anything online. All right. So I think right now it's getting a lot of buzz because music's going on it and art's going on it and, videos are going on it, but there's a lot of boring things that NFTs can get on that are probably going to be a lot bigger than what's going on right now. Speaking
of NFTs, gas fees, you just touched on those. Such a problem. Yesterday, I think we had $1,000 gas fees and, hour-long wait times for transacting on the network. That is unscalable. That is not going to work. That is a capital no bueno, and that would scare away any rookie into the space. What do you see as the solution for the super high gas fees? Yeah,
it's obviously a significant problem, and specifically NFTs, it makes it almost like unattainable now. Like, why would I buy a $200 NFT if it's $1,000 gas? It just devalues everything. So the obvious options are new blockchains, right? That actually going to come out to do it. That's why I'm pretty excited about digital bits because it isn't that much gas fees and they're really planning something out for NFTs. It's going to be, allowed to be a lot faster, a lot cheaper, a lot easier, for big brands specifically. I think there's a very missed opportunity when it comes to promotional items and and NFTs. And because of the gas fees, it just makes it completely unrealistic. So even if you wanted to pay the gas fees to give them something free, they'll never be able to move it out. And so definitely new blockchains for it. And then when it comes to Ethereum, like you also have to, like I always make the comparison of like dial-up internet. Like at one point dial-up internet and no one thought a video could ever go online and YouTube would never work out. And then we figured it out. And so I think we'll end up figuring all this out. I don't know what the actual solution will be for Ethereum. Obviously, Matic seems like a really good solution. Yep. A lot of layer 2 solutions. But I do think there's a lot more exciting blockchains coming out overall. What I like about our founder of Digital Bits and like the CEO of Zytara, I've worked with him for quite a few years now, is he actually was around in the internet days. And like I love hanging around these like old guys or girls who were around in the internet days to compare the two spaces because I love like learning from the past. And when you compare where we are today, the internet, I just read about it recently, it's like we're at the exact amount of people that are in Bitcoin as on the internet in 2017. So now we're like trying to compare, okay, what companies came out in 2007. So right now we're at 2007 with the internet. So it's like, what companies came out in 2007? Well, you know, what funds were funding companies? And so, you know, when did Amazon come out? When did Google come out? When did Shopify come out? You know, let's go
those winners.
Yeah, and so I think we're going to see a lot of them. Like I know a lot of guys that were NFTs that just didn't make it to this time. It's so sad. It's like, oh man, like they were so early. They couldn't make it to this moment. And so it's which crypto companies can hang on till their moment happens, because everyone moments happen. Fan tokens are coming up very quickly. Social tokens are coming up really quickly. Stable coins, I think of just the iceberg of what it is. Loyalty points, they sound boring, but they're the future, you know. So all those are going to eventually come up. So who can actually hang on, and then what companies are going to come in and just do it better.
Very well said there.
Yeah.
You have a couple more questions, Tracy, and this has been a treat. Thank you. You've literally dedicated your career to sort of bringing blockchain technology to the mainstream audience. I know that is your MO. Like if you had a billboard anywhere, that's probably what it would say. Or, you know, what would it say to bring that? But that's a Tim Ferriss question. I'm not going to steal his question. But what do you think needs to happen? And I know this is such a tough question, but like what can the crypto community do and the blockchain community do to sort of increase that and lengthen that bridge, or I guess shorten that bridge rather, from crypto to mainstream people?
Yeah, I guess what I like to always say is I got involved in cryptocurrency and I wasn't a developer and I wasn't in financial markets, and I was a girl in a very male-dominated space with like bright pink hair. And I was able to make my mark and like figure it out. And so I think people get very intimidated by cryptocurrency and blockchain. They get overwhelmed with it. And they think that this is not for me and this is somebody else, but they couldn't be more wrong. The space is very inclusive to everybody. It does take a bit of time to really understand everything, but once you do, try and make your mark in whatever way it is. For me, it was community building and events, and marketing. For you, it might be something else, but, just whoever you are, try and make that mark. And more importantly, once you are in the space and you found a place here, be very open to answer questions that other people have, you know? So it's, like I said, it's important to ask questions, but I think it's more important for people in our position to answer those questions. And so, overall, come to an event. I was going to, come to my events, go to any events when they're there, go to virtual events. I think they're an important part of the industry. I think, their main reason why crypto's been where it is today is just people coming together and building it. And, don't forget the new guy that comes in. You were there once. We all were there once. So, it's important to remember.
Party stories. I need one before you go. Give me a crazy party story from a crypto event.
Oh my gosh, party stories. What if I told you I couldn't remember them all? Kidding. No, I guess the craziest party story is every time crypto hits a milestone. So like I said, $1,000, champagne was popping everywhere in Toronto and nightclubs were going on. Happened again at 10K, right? Happened again at 30. Party stories. I'm trying to think. I know after this I'll be like, oh, I had the greatest one, but,
we'll get you on for round 2.
Let me think. Yeah, I'll text you a good party story.
Yeah,
guys, come on to Miami, the only place open up in the world right now, and we'll have a party story together.
Yes. Yes. There you go. So Tracy is on the block. Miami, she'll be releasing a couple hot party stories, couple hot takes here now. Bitcoin 100K. We know it's not an if because it's going to happen. When?
Yeah.
Give me a Tracy hot take here. When's it going to go down?
We're May 20th, 2021 right now. I'm going to say by November 10th.
Ooh.
2021.
You heard it. November 10th, 2021. Mega bullish. Except don't use leverage, kids. Be good. Be good to yourselves.
Yeah. This is not financial advice. This is not financial advice at all. I actually, I'm just being optimistic on this podcast. I think everyone needs to be very careful how they invest.
Yes. Neither of us are financial advisors. One of us is a professional event planner, and so take advice in regards to that, and that is about it. One of the questions that I usually ask that is sort of gone now is Ethereum at 5K or Bitcoin at 100K. What will happen first? Do you think there's any chance Bitcoin takes that, or is that a no-bueno?
No, Ethereum's going to take that.
Who is Satoshi?
Honestly,
you've probably heard some good rumors.
I've heard lots of good rumors. I had a Netflix documentary come to an event that I put him with Vitalik in, and it was about who's Satoshi. And I gave him the best line. I said, whoever Satoshi is, you got to look at the event list in 2013, in 2012, or 22, right? Because he probably went to some of these events, just wanting to so I'm like, we have to go find all the event lists and see who has it. It's I don't know who it is.
You just said it's I know you know who it is.
I guess Finney.
Hal Finney?
Hal Finney, yeah. It's obviously Hal Finney, but it has to be. How can it not be? He literally got the first transaction. That's literally, it's on the blockchain. So plus he's unfortunately passed away, so that's why he hasn't moved it. And he lived a block from Dorian Nakamoto, and it's got to be him. I hope it's him. Cool.
No, that's probably the best bet. Favorite crypto city in the world?
Toronto. Come to Toronto.
I agree. Biased on both of us, though. Number 2.
Oh my gosh, New York. You know what? I really like the Caribbean islands. Barbados is a great island for crypto. There's a lot of people in Barbados for crypto. What are yours? What's yours?
Probably Toronto, Miami.
Miami, yeah. Maybe after this weekend I'll say Miami. Yeah, I guess Barbados, you go there and you say your crypto and you'll just find a group of 50 people that kind of come around you. Yeah, because they're really friendly to crypto as well. But
I've never been to Malta, Dubai, or Singapore, but I'm sure those three. Yes, I
love Dubai. Malta is super sketchy, so not a fan. Never been there, but I've just heard stories. You want to be in a place that's very accepting of it, and back in the day, Montreal actually in Canada used to have a lot. I remember poutine places accepting it.
Oh yeah.
I hate thinking about these stories because I regret everything I bought with Bitcoin back in the day. I've probably the world's most expensive panini maker right now, and spice rack.
Was it purchased with Bitcoin?
Yeah, I'll purchase on Newegg.com and stuff. So it's yeah, Toronto's honestly great. New York's a really good one. Consensus does a great job there, and then the Caribbean islands. And that's not thinking about, actually I went to Australia for EdCon, and that was quite interesting. A lot of people in Ethereum and blockchain there too. When's
the next Toronto event going to go down? I know it's completely locked down now.
We are allowed to have one.
You're going to throw a banger?
We're going to throw a banger. I think we're just going to go at it. I think with crypto, honestly, with our tickets too, no one really plans until the month before.
Yeah.
So I've done this now, rinse and repeat. And the second we can open up the doors and we could have a successful event, we're rocking one here.
Well, count me in on that. Tracy, this has been awesome. I had a really good time.
Me too.
And learned a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you
so much. Had a blast.
Thank you so much. I hope to see you in Toronto. You could be a speaker. Come see Matt in person one day.
That.
Yeah.
Love that. And, come see Matt in person.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Cool.
Well, thanks again. Appreciate it. And we'll keep in touch 100%. And I will see you in 2 weeks. I will see you speaking, and I will be your plus uno at the Floyd Mayweather fight. You got room for the box.
Sounds good, man.
No, I'm not too big. I'm about 6 feet, 175, 180 on a bad day, so I don't take up too much room.
Perfect.
So I'll squeeze in. But Tracy, thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Folks, this was Tracy Leparulo from Untraceable and Zytara. Hope you had a blast listening to her. I certainly did, and I learned a lot from this episode. You can find her on socials. I will post all of these to the show notes, but since I forgot, and I never do, Tracy is still on the line with us. So Tracy, where can our guests find you, Zytara, and Untraceable on socials?
Yeah, so my Twitter's Tracy Leparulo, TracyLeparulo. You can get me at Untraceable Inc. Or Zytara HQ, all on Twitter. So thanks so much.
You heard it there, folks. If you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you did, please subscribe to the podcast. That is the Crypto News Podcast. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Overcast, Google, Amazon, you name it. We are there. And you can learn more about us at cryptonews.com and at Crypto News on all socials. As always, appreciate you, love you, and hope you have an amazing rest of the day. Have a good one. Bye.